Get a ticket, support the kids, and come join us on the red carpet in your semi-formal club attire and celebrate the season with KBLA Talk 1580 and the Terry Claiborne Foundation as we collect toys for the youth in our community. That's Saturday, December 9th, 1110 South La Cienega Boulevard, just south of Olympic. It's a holiday party with a purpose.
I'm Terry Claiborne. It's going to be a party. Come hang out with us.
I say what I want to say when I feel and I look in the mirror and know I'm there with my hands in the air. I'm proud to say yeah, I'm real, I'm real, I'm really, really real. 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 I promise that I know you very well. Your eyes never lie, even if they tell. Sweet lullabies that come with the smell of a dozen roses flipping down a green hill. You living in a world that come with plan B, cause plan A never relay a guarantee, and plan C never could say just what it was. And your plans only can pan around love. You love him, you love them, you love her. You love so much, you love what love hurts. You love red bottom and gold that say queen. You love handbag on the waist of your jean. You love French tip and trip that pay for. You love bank slip that tell you he paid more. You love a good hand whenever the card dealt, but what love got to do with it when you don't love yourself?
Welcome back into hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Boy, the industry, life in general, but the industry in particular definitely does a number on some people. We won't just say women, people. Listen, the Billboard Awards were the other night, so there was a tweet that was put out by Chart Data. They're still called tweets, right? I know I ask you this all the time. Since it's called X, did they ever clarify on what the actual posts are called? I just want to know. But anyway, it listed out every Billboard year-end number 1 artist since 2009. And I thought the list was quite interesting, and I wanted to run it down for you really quickly. So in 2009, number 1 artist of the year, Taylor Swift. 2010, Lady Gaga. 2011 and 2012, Adele. 2013, Bruno Mars. 2014, One Direction. 2015, Taylor Swift again. 2016, Adele. 2017, Ed Sheeran. 2018, Drake. 2019 and 2020, Post Malone. 2021, Drake again. 2022, Bad Bunny. And 2023, Taylor Swift again. Immediately, what do we notice about that list? No black women. So, well, let me ask you. I heard you, Andy. What do you consider Drake? And what do you consider Bruno Mars?
Bruno, I'm gonna go ahead and say he's pop.
He's pop.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he gets the urban card with his music.
So, depending upon which album, which genre he's paying homage to at that time.
You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and say urban. Period.
Okay.
Because a lot of his music, in my eyes, is funk R&B.
I agree.
I don't think he does any form of rock or anything like that.
I mean, but you think about like Walk Right Out of Heaven, and what was the other, like his first album? I feel like that was like around 2011, 2012. The actually, and what was that song? You know, his big hit. It was a pop ballad.
Talking about that.
No. Before that, it was what is the Bruno Mars song? It was a big pop ballad. Gosh, what is the name of it? It was from the Treasure was on that album. Locked Out of Heaven, right? And then what was the other song? It was a big ballad. I can't remember the name of it. Just the Way You Are. just the way you are. Yeah. So I feel like his first album was very pop leaning to me. And then he started to tap into other, time frames and genres. Like, I never was of the mindset that he was copying or jacking, or when people called him, I'm blanking on the word. What is the word we always use? Yeah. I never felt that he was that, because one, he always paid homage to the original artist, shouted them out. I think even, maybe utilized like some of the funk band members on some of the cuts and things of that nature. So to me, if you are giving it up and giving credit and sharing where you got the style or the inspiration from, that's not a culture vulture. So I'm cool with that. But I know some people, ride the fence. But definitely Locked Out of Heaven and that first album, that was more pop to me. I actually, until I guess it was the 2014 Super Bowl. That was the Polar Vortex Super Bowl in New York when Seattle won. I guess it was Seattle against the Broncos. And I was doing a thing with Pepsi at the time. So I got to go to the Super Bowl. And that was my first time really seeing Bruno Mars perform. I'd heard of him, never really tapped into it because I just felt like, oh, I'm not in my pop bag right now. But seeing him perform, I became a fan and I was locked in after that. And he kept it going. So, shout out to him. But Taylor Swift on the list 3 times. Adele on the list 3 times. Certainly interesting. And I knew Post Malone was very, very big, but it's always amazing to me that time period, 2019. I feel like it really started in like 2018, but that little time period where Post was like secretly the top rapper, but now he's all country rock and has left you hip hop heathens behind. Kind of feels that way. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics, more headlines. We're going to get into this conversation on if there's an aesthetic for Black women. We're also going to get into Ari Lennox's comments about why she did not go ahead and get a nose job and, some other things related to that topic. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
Yes, so I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Speaking of Adele, really quick, wanted to shout out she and Rich Paul. Over the weekend, Adele's best friend, a comedian named Alan Carr, a British comedian, had a show here in L.A., and it was a small, intimate venue, according to reports, about 75 people. And during the set, Alan asked the crowd if anyone had said, "I do" lately. And Adele shouted out, "I did." So, she had referred to Rich as her husband. She has been dropping hints about wanting to have a baby. So it looks like the two have secretly tied the knot. Of course, there are rumors and reports that Adele's friends were allegedly concerned because her first marriage ended, pretty badly. She ended up in a divorce where she had to give half of her earnings from that time period to her husband because there was no prenup. So they wanted to make sure that Adele signed a prenup. And people are like, do you know who Rich Paul is? He's not broke. He has his own money. Check this out. And I will forever. This is one of those hills that I am dying on. A prenup is best for both individuals, especially if they were both coming in with assets. You can structure that prenup however you like, with whatever provisions you want included or excluded. Talk to your lawyer. I am not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice, just my opinion. But I think it protects everybody. Nobody is getting married to get divorced in theory, but you want to be safe. And obviously they both have children that they want to make sure are protected in the long run. They could possibly have a child together. So, congrats to them. People say that a male Sagittarius, because Rich is a Sag, his birthday's coming up, and a female Taurus, shout out to those Tauruses, are very hard coupling to get together with and make last. Adele's also a Sagittarius moon, which is why the relationship probably works a little bit more. And there's your brief little drop into astrology for the night with celebrities, because I do lots of things. Anyway, let's talk about this physicality thing with women. So, and how we're going to tie it into Amber Rose. Recently, Ari Lennox was having a conversation on live, and she talked about how once she got signed, there were people that started mentioning how celebrities with money start to make changes, especially to their physical aesthetic, right? They get surgically enhanced parts, they take things off, they add things on, and it was suggested to her that maybe she could benefit from doing something like that. And she said that she was too scared to touch her nose in fear that it would not look right, or that when she had a child and the child would be born with her nose and so forth. And she just had to learn to love herself. So I wanted to play her comments before we get into the conversation.
Sometimes not feeling like I belong because I thought, well, maybe my nose is like that of like Ghanaian, or like maybe I'm like West African. And then just hearing like people say, there ain't no noses out here that look like that. Like, and just being like, okay. I was hanging out with someone and they mentioned like how sometimes when celebrities change their appearance, like how much their money changes and how opportunity changes and all these things like that. And the person basically was like, yo, like, the same thing probably would happen to you. And I was just like, Jesus. So it's like a lot of things that have happened ever since I've became a singer. Cause there would be little things growing up, like tunnel nose, all that shit. But like becoming like a singer that was signed, it just seems like all of my insecurities just became heightened. But I think I'm too scary to ever do anything like that, out of fear that, like I said, one, it will never look right, and with them touching it, and then I don't know, not to judge other people, this is my situation, but like the idea of having a child one day and then my baby has my nose, and then if I changed it and now I'm looking at my baby who had my old nose, and I'm just like, how do I convince my baby that their nose is perfect? Or just knowing, like, if I were to raise my younger self, I would have given myself so much love, right? If myself was like this physical being that I could love, I would give her so much love. But why is it so hard to step outside of, I don't know, to step outside of your f***ing self and like love yourself?
So listen, we know that body image issues, especially with the advent of social media, especially as Instagram has taken over, and I'm sure, TikTok and Snapchat, whatever, has altered a lot of the conversation around body image and what people are accepting, both in good and bad ways. I mean, obviously, we've definitely had a body positivity movement. Some people may not agree with it. They think that, they make the case that people are promoting obesity or, unhealthy living and eating and those type of things, instead of just saying, hey, love yourself in whatever moment you were in, right? Even because most of those people really don't care about the person's health. Let's be for real. They're just being mean or, what they want to see in the world. They don't care if you die of sugar diabetes or your blood pressure is out of this world. They just want to talk mess, right? But I think there is something to say about, as we talked about earlier, healthy habits, healthy eating habits, but about too loving yourself in whatever place that you are in the moment. Loving yourself if you are in a phase where you are bigger or unhappy with your looks doesn't necessarily mean that you are encouraging bad habits or that you don't want to improve yourself. It just means appreciating yourself in every phase that we go through. Every phase, every portion of life is not going to be wonderful and amazing. But guess what? We still have to get up and move through it, right? And I feel like that also goes with your physical appearance as well. Like, sometimes, hey, today was not a great hair day for me. My hair was feeling dry. So what did I do? I put on my hat and I found a cute little look to go with it, right? But I don't feel bad about myself. I'm just like, hey, today was not it, right? But I know that it takes everyone, obviously, different things to get to that point. But I do think Ari mentioned something that is really important about being in the entertainment industry, and that it is really hard on people. And of course, we always talk about it, but even as consumers, we do it to the artist. She's looking a little off today. He's looking a little thin. They picking up weight. He might want to invest in a bra. You know what I mean? We have all types of jokes for people. And of course, it is natural. Everybody is not going to be kind. You have to sometimes learn to laugh at yourself and develop thicker skin if you want to be entertainment. But it led me to another conversation I came across on social media about the aesthetic for Black women. Of course, the conversation has gone on and on and on forever. Black women and what they're supposed to look like, competing with the white idealized image of beauty that has been put out there for time and time again. But within our own culture, do we put pressure on women, even with the rise of the natural movement, even with the body positivity movement? Is it still really about a 28-inch bust down weave and a BBLS shape in order to truly be accepted? Let's listen to this conversation.
The best thing that's ever happened to me is that I just realized I'm myself and I don't have to live by any idea of what other people think is supposed to be.
Facts.
You sure about that? We often talk about these beauty standards, and black women feel like they have to fit a certain aesthetic, whether it's the wigs, that the white woman wigs that y'all got on your hair, or whoever other wigs y'all got on your hair, the makeup, the BBLs. Is that genuinely you, or do you feel like you have to fit a certain aesthetic?
I'm not saying I cannot be persuaded. I'm not saying that I don't believe that there's a standard that women have, especially black women, which I think is unfortunate. We have a little bit of a problem with that, I will admit. I've grown a lot. I don't think I'm...
So here's the thing. We think about Nicki Minaj talking about when she was in the studio with Wayne and all of those guys, she felt pressure because the young ladies that they were entertaining, so she got, butt shots, right? We have seen, if you believe Party about Megan, the gym is not just what gave her, and I don't know that, again, let me slow down. Anybody is capable of getting an enhancement, right? Megan's body is serious. Before, when she was younger, obviously she filled out as an adult. Obviously she started showing us how she was taking better care of her body. We know some women can go to the gym and they act like, they post those real cute mirror pics, but we know they just came back from the Dominican or something, getting hooked up. And get it how you live, sis. Do what you do. I'm not mad at it, but I'm also not willing to automatically say every woman that gets her health together, gets her body together, went and got her body done. But I do think that now more than probably at times before, there is a lot of pressure on women to have a certain aesthetic. But I guess it's, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it that women are trying to, I don't believe, like the gentleman said in the clip, that black women are trying to compete with white women per se with some of the standards that they're put in. I think that we have long moved past, in some ways, that kind of one-to-one thinking, like, she wants white long silky hair. I think that nowadays the weave aesthetic, the wig aesthetic or whatever, is cross-cultural. You see just as many white women with a 28-inch bust down or trying to get a kinky look on us. So I think that some things are floating into just fashion territory. If you look at the 1930s and the flapper era, they lined their lips really thin, their eyebrows really thin. I think at some point certain aspects of fashion, no matter where it started, kind of spread across the board, right? But again, I think for black women, we're hard on each other and we are hard on ourselves. And in general, whether it's natural or weave or wig, we like our things. We like our looks, right? Generally, I know there are women out there that don't care about any of this. And they're going to say, not me, and I don't do the makeup thing. I got you, girlfriend. This conversation just isn't for you right now. We'll talk about that next time. But I just think that women overall, but black women, there's something about us, I think, because it is always a source of conversation. We think about the Crown Act and why it was necessary for that to come into play. I can remember when I first started entering into the workforce that they wouldn't necessarily say it, or if they would quietly pull you to the side. But braids definitely were a no. It definitely precluded you from opportunity. It definitely shaped the way that some people thought about you if you stepped in the scene with braids, So we really have come a long way, and there's lots of freedoms in it, but it still is a lot of hard work. Cardi B was on, I think it was Instagram, maybe Twitter, and this was tonight actually, And she posted a video where she was talking about what she was doing in the gym working out. And someone responded and was like, I hate when influencers and celebrities get on there and talk about how hard they work out when they've obviously had work. And I appreciated Cardi's response because she said, I've never lied about having work done, so I'm not going to lie about when I go to the gym. I'm trying to, keep the work that I've done together. And we've all seen examples of people that have gotten work done and not gone to the gym, and it doesn't look the greatest. It just falls back apart. And then there are those that might get a little snip, nip, tuck or whatever, but then also change up some things so that it still looks the best way it can. Cardi also pointed out about, what is it called? Visceral fat? I might be mispronouncing the word, but I think it's Visceral. Could be spelling it wrong too, because I'm going off the top of the dome and whatever. But that's the fat that is in between your organs, and that you can't use through liposuction. And Cardi said, she wants to make sure to take care of that too. And she said a lot of times when you see those women out there that have had work done, that have had lipo, that have had BBLs, and they have the little pooch, even though they've had as much fat as they probably can sucked out of their stomach, it is because they are not doing the maintenance afterwards. Surgery is not a fix-all. It helps. It does a lot of the heavy lifting, but you still have to participate in that. And don't take this as me throwing shade to anything about surgery. I do not have a problem with it. I think that if there is something wrong with you and you have the budget to do so, please, by all means, go safely to a recommended surgeon and get yourself hooked up. And also consider the budget money that if you have to do anything maintenance later on, because all of these surgeries have that, then do that. But I think that that can be coupled with a little bit of exercise and some moderation in eating. And there you go. I'm not saying go crazy, be a gym babe. I'm just saying a little balance, a little moderation, and a little grace to the sisters that may not be jumping in that fray. I know it's a hard thing because we feel like everybody should be just as caught up in their aesthetic as we are, but give people some grace. When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into the Amber Rose story where she talks about crying over Wiz for 3 years. We're going to hear her comments. And I want to know, is the added pressure, because we've talked a lot about being a celebrity's girlfriend and the things that happen, is it still as appealing as people once thought it was? Is that phase of kind of elevating a chick from just being the girl of celebrity 1A kind of fading into the wind? We'll get into that on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You love so much, you love when love hurts. You love fast cars and their presidents old. You love fast women, you love keeping control of everything that you love. You love beef, you love streets, you love running, ducking police. You love your hood, might even love it to death. But what love got to do with it when you don't love yourself?
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says he loves travel as he explains the amount of times he's been to Turkey. His trips to Turkey have come into question since the FBI started looking into Adams' campaign finances, favors, and possible influence by the Turkish government. The mayor, who is black, says he is hiring someone to set up a legal defense fund because New Yorkers have reached out to his team wanting to help. The HBCU Alabama A&M Marching Band will lead this year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. Less than a dozen bands from across the country were selected to perform in the famous parade this week. Additionally, the Dancing Divas will perform with the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. The broadcast starts at 8:30 a.m. in all time zones. It will broadcast simultaneously on NBC and Peacock. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
This Black Friday Mattress Firm is your sure bet. This Friday until noon, get a queen mattress for just $89.99. Don't miss this exclusive doorbuster. Available for in-store pickup only while supplies last. Hurry in and save at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
The City of Los Angeles Civil Rights Department and its LA Repair Participatory Budgeting Program invite nonprofit organizations to submit proposals to turn community ideas into reality. More than $5.4 million is available to make a difference in the Arleta, Pacoima, Westlake, Skid Row, South LA, Leimert Park, and Harbor areas. Don't wait. Proposals are due on November 29th at noon. To apply, visit repair.lacity.gov. LA Repair gives people real power over real money. Visit repair.lacity.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with one of the panelists, the owner of Kids Love. Take a listen.
So Kids Love, KIDSLUV, is a first-to-market zero-sugar, vitamin-enhanced functional beverage for kids.
So the zero sugar is really important because if not, the sugar gets on the teeth, it can cause cavities. So as a mom, I love this vitamins and hydration in one. Tell us what's happening here with Chase Bank today.
So I would say, I think what Chase is trying to do is create a community actually for entrepreneurs, a place where people can go. They have the space to do it. It's a beautiful space. And to be able to have these conversations. There are so many benefits to being a women-owned and certified business, from a standpoint of getting into stores, not paying the slotting fees of what it takes to be in stores. So I think Chase is trying to bring awareness to a lot of the things that people just don't know about, that not only the bank can help, but outside of the bank, their relationships can help create.
That's beautiful. And I know, this is how we build equity in communities of color, is kind of spreading that information and that knowledge. So thank you for being here today and doing your part and letting these women know that it is possible. For KBLA 1580, I'm Maisha Cairo in the community with Chase.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ooh.
Someone by their side, and I can't go on without you another night. Since companionship's been gone, my life has been so slow without you. See, it don't take a rocket scientist to know I love you, and it don't take a rocket scientist to know I need you. If you believe that you and me can change the world someday, then you believe me when I say I still love you.
Yeah, that was a 702 man. You know, we just lost Irish a couple months ago. Listen, the Neptunes were in their bag late 90s, early 2000s. Not that we didn't still get bangers from Pharrell after that, but just saying. That's like a classic cut. It's up there. It's up there. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking about the rap girlies. Not the actual rap girlies, but the significant other rap girlies, and just sort of the pressure to be in the industry, the aesthetic, and if that is easing up any. I know that we are starting to see the return of a more athletic shape, a more pared down shape as compared to the BBL era on some, and then we're still seeing some pretty botched surgeries, but you know, all in good time. Do what you have to do to make yourself feel better, of course, and do it safely. So listen, we know that a lot happened. We've talked about last week as far as Diddy, Cassie, and all of those things. The other day, I'll be sure, we know that his son Quincy was kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, stepson to Diddy for many years, because Diddy was with Quincy's mom, Kim Porter. And so Al put out a cryptic message on Instagram. And you know, everybody is going to try and read the Instagram tea leaves and interpret what that message was for, and if it was really in reference to Cassie settling the case, right? And I'll put up, ironically, a Boosie clip, and had something about his expectations of a person, and you know, he thought the person would get better over time, right? And so many people reached out to him about the coded message, and he posted something on his feed to clear it up, that it was not in reference to that particular story about Cassie and Diddy. What he said was, I posted a story this morning about someone close to me that I trusted like family. Come to find out, I walk with their flag daily, and they were grimy on many levels while I went down and was hospitalized. They've been questionably riding the fence throughout the entire attempts of my existence. So he said, so update your blogs and fictional narratives. FYI, I don't comment, speak, nor concern myself with court cases. The ensuing results are another man or woman's business that's not my own, no matter how closely associated my artistic posts may reflect real life. I think he was talking about Cassie and Diddy. No, I'm just playing. I don't know. It just sounds like a little bit of word salad at the end. Like, you could have just left it. And again, I understand clearing your name. And you know I'm just being a little funny here. But he did go a little hard. He could have just said, nah, yo, not it. Or whatever. I understand the need to clarify. But I also think, you know, when you are throwing out a subliminal, you hope the person that you are sending out that sub to catches it. But keep in mind, there are going to be 5 other people, whether by guilty conscience, paranoia, low-level reading comprehension skills, whatever the case may be, they're going to misinterpret it, think it's about them, think it's about something else. So you should just be prepared for that. and either ignore it and keep it moving, or provide some clarity as soon as you do. I think that when sometimes you throw back out these word salad things to sound deep and profound, it doesn't have the desired impact. At least not to me. I'm not telling anybody what they should do or how they should conduct themselves. I'm just saying a little clarity, especially when you know it is in the midst of chaos. You know, we like that. Anyway, it was a very, very lengthy post that he, cleared the subject up with. He concluded it by saying, "Don't let the love songs fool you. I have no comment on anyone's court case results or anyone else's business for that matter. I will reserve my comments for my own Dire Straits situation. If you haven't spent time in a coma, 5 surgeries, been on a ventilator for 38 days, intubated, septic, been on dialysis, had a transplant, then you may have to wait for it. You don't know the half of what I will be speaking on, as I'll be sure. My business counsel advises me to do so." Okay, Al, I feel you, because you have been through, a lot of things. But just like you clearly laid out what you're going through with that, you could do that, or you could play the subliminal games and just know people are going to be, on your bumper. And that's sort of the way it goes. Now, Amber Rose, in addition to sharing that she lets her sons drink coffee, they are 10 and 5. This was all in the No Jumper interview. She also talked about her breakup with Wiz, and that it took her basically 3 years to get over those feelings and get back to herself. Let's hear a little bit about what she had to say.
Oh no, with Wiz, I cried for like 3 years straight.
Oh, so you did have a
yeah, no, for Wiz for sure. That was the love of my life. That's why I said it. I can't apply that to Wiz, but yeah, I cried for. I used to just sit in the shower and be like,
and then you have to see him because you guys have a kid together.
Yeah.
So I mean, with that, heartbreak is hard, but obviously, if you are with someone that is publicly known, and you will encounter their face, their music, their projects inadvertently just because that's how life goes, it adds to it. I feel like over the past sort of 10 or 15 years or so, the rap girlfriend, though always a staple, a part of your rapper kit, has become a celebrity in their own right. The Aries, the Jada Waitas, the Keisha Kaors, etc. But with all of the different allegations that have come out as of late, the pressures regarding surgery, the side babies, the cheating, and so forth, does it seem as though that lifestyle is starting to lose its luster for the people out there? Do you think that the younger generation is still as enthralled by it? Because we see these shows like Baddies and stuff like that where, ultimately, no, these girls on there are not necessarily, rappers' girlfriends yet. But we know that they would like to be. We see the Krishan Rocks and how popular they are, dysfunction aside. But I just wonder if that desire for that lifestyle is kind of starting to fade away. Probably not, because there's always a lot of money involved, but it just seems like it's not drawing the people in the way that it used to in their projects. Shout out to Janet in the chat. She said, "Wow, not Kanye, interesting." I wouldn't think that it would be Kanye. I felt like Kanye was an introduction. They had a very interesting relationship, but she and Wiz seemed to be connecting on a different level. They seem to be like two free spirits that connected and linked together. I really like Wiz's energy. He seems like a good dude. I can't remember why they broke up. Did he cheat on her? I can't remember what caused them to break up or what the situation was and why that they separated at this time. But I can totally see her saying that Wiz was the love of her life. Like, Kanye gave her a look, he put her in the world, but she couldn't really be her authentic self with him. He didn't let her talk, which was probably better for her brand at the time. But, you know, things changed. She just looked really happy with Wiz and carefree. So, you know, shout out to them for remaining good friends and co-parenting. When we come forward, more trending topics, more headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID, whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine, but how do you maintain the beard hair you already have? The King C. Gillette Beard Thickener helps to reduce patchiness and strengthens hair's resilience to breakage. Apply the King C. Gillette Beard Thickener daily to see a thicker and fuller beard in just 14 days. It's highly scented with King C. Gillette's signature scent. Just trim, wash, and soften. With King C. Gillette.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we have talked about the dominance of females across hip hop, especially over the last year or so. And there's also been some beefs that naturally have come out of that. People are competitive. People are petty. These things happen, right? Well, Lotto, she has it come out and admitted that it was, in her words, weak-minded of her to fall for stan drama in the past. She said that she regrets any beefs that she's had in her career, that she's too talented for that, and she blames the fans for any of those situations, right? So, as I mentioned last night, she is doing a cipher, an all-female cipher of new and upcoming female rappers for Double XL. She has a cover story with them and an interview. And so in it, she said that she regretted the decision to let the stands infiltrate her mind and influence her decisions. She shared that she gave some advice to Lola Brooks. You know, she's up and coming. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. I like Lola because she's little and has a deep voice. You know, we have those things in common. Anyway, about how she should move throughout the industry. She told Lola, she said that even though the industry can be cliquey, it's important to stay neutral because when you don't, all heck can break loose. She says that she knows firsthand how your actions can be viewed as picking sides. She also says, a lot of people said that I was clout chasing. I think that the truth is coming from a female rapper, they're going to be picked apart. So she would rather just stay away from it. She says that, she wants to move past any of the past drama. I think it's really isn't a problem until we let fans get involved, she says. They're outsiders getting in the mix. And I think that's what stirs the pot because it's like, well, we will all be fans of each other and commenting and following each other. But then once they get to comparing, they will turn us against each other, which I think is very weak-minded for us as female rappers. She then says, I will take that accountability. I don't think truly at heart it's us. Once people are infiltrating your mind and got you thinking this way and that way, now you feel a type of way without even addressing the person. Now you're addressing fans. I think that we fall for these traps that they put female rappers in. I'm going to call a little bit of cap on that. While I do think that fans definitely stir the pot, keep up confusion, and kind of point things out, as an adult, what is it that the fans can say for you that cause you to want to have beef with that person? What are they saying? I mean, I know they're making various comparisons, but if that person, I mean, if you just think they're, whack, or you don't think they got flow or whatever, that's something totally different. But how are the fans egging you on by simply comparing and contrasting what they do and don't like? If that person hasn't said anything about you, if they haven't put you in their lyrics or called you out specifically, how are you letting one person say, I think Nicki Minaj is the greatest, make you mad at Nicki Minaj, right? I think that, and again, I understand the competitive aspect of it, but just that you want to, take it that much to heart, I guess that's something that comes with maturity, right? And I think along with some of that, you have to take accountability for your competitiveness or whatever you have going on in that moment that maybe made you feel act in a way that was out of your character. Like I said, I do think it is natural in, I know it's a bad analogy to use war, so I won't use it. But when you are in battle, right, and I don't mean literally, but you're competing for spots, you're competing for eyes, you're competing for attention, you are naturally going to feel a little bit of that thing, that dog come up and get you. I hope so. That's usually what separates good from great. But there's also something to be said by knowing when you're off the stage and to take it down. That's life balance. That's, again, I'm not criticizing Lotto because I think that she has the right intent, and she is admitting that she got, a little carried away by all the drama. But I also think when we try so hard to stifle the competitive aspect of people that is naturally there, that sometimes can drive people to do better, I don't know if that's healthy either. I don't think, again, I'm not saying you want people to be super aggressive, raw, attacking people for no reason and not being balanced, but I think that it's good. That's how you push people, right? That is how you push each other, by encouraging one another to get better. Not necessarily saying mean things, but I think a little comparison is not terrible. And I think that's just being realistic, but I don't know. Everybody has their own thing. Okay, last story of the night, right? This one deals with money laundering and the sneaker game. So there is a popular sneaker reseller. His name is James Whitner. He's the founder of a store called Social Status, and he is being investigated in a multi-million-dollar money laundering scheme, right? He has 2 stores, Social Status, and I'm not going to lie, I did not get the exact pronunciation of his second store, and I don't want to do that tonight. Jack it up. So let me say first that he has not been personally charged with any crime. However, you know, he has grown his resale sneaker business and apparel business along with a brick and mortar shop. But authorities believe that he used his legal company to funnel illegal money. Prosecutors believe that he and his Whitaker group got involved with overseas retailers in China and basically were using unlicensed money transactions for business with Chinese money couriers. And he's not facing criminal charges, but he's at the center of a civil complaint. And the civil complaint comes from a big shoe company based in Oregon. Well, as you probably are aware, there's 2 there. One is there's 2 that are housed there, but only one has their headquarters there, and that is the Swoosh. So apparently they found out that he was taking this product, selling it to these sellers over in China, and they would then resell it, put it on the market. We know the resale market has been a hot topic, where he signed paperwork in his contract to get the Nike. I'm assuming it's Nike, I should say, to get the unnamed shoe company's contract that he would not resell. He would not resell to any markets overseas. And one other condition that was included in order to allow him to do as such. So it is alleged that he laundered $32 million in product and money. And that is a lot of shoes, you know. Is the sneaker game still as hype as it used to be? I feel like even that is losing state. I feel like we are in very much, it's still hype, Andy? Okay, maybe you're wrong. But no, it's not. I feel like we're in a transition period with a lot of things. I think that the way that we look at culture, the things that are popular, I think we're in a change, and it's going to be interesting to see the evolution of such. All right, thank you for locking in. Tomorrow is Wednesday. The last day for the holiday kicks off, so make sure that you are locked in here, 9 p.m. Pacific time. That means our Keep It Real friend will be joining us. We're going to have a Tubi movie review and an interview with Will Packer and Reginald Hudlin. All of that and more. Thank you for locking in tonight on RSVP with Jill Munroe. On the other side, the best of KBLA. Have an amazing night. I will talk to you later.